We have all spent parts of our lives, in some cases huge parts of our lives, listening to recorded music.
There is one step in the process of creating recorded music that most of us know nothing about, even though it's been part of the process for decades. And for some of the most famous and successful singers in the world, that final step in making their music takes place in Portland. The A&M Mastering Studio in Portland has decorations that just might be the coolest in Maine. Album covers and gold records and Grammy Awards. If the walls could talk, they'd have quite a story. Well, let's go see where the magic happens.
All right, come on in. Welcome to the new room at A&M Mastering.
This is the new business home of mastering engineer Adam A&M. And before we go any further, you ought to hear his simple description of what he does, which is making a record sound the best it can.
So it's the final creative step in the process of making a recording. It's the final step in terms of anything you can do creatively, sonically, before it ends up at the end listener.
A&M works in a windowless room with magnificent acoustics and superbly engineered speakers and equipment. It's not the equipment that makes A&M exceptional at what he does. It's his training, knowledge of music, nearly 30 years of mastering experience, and an extraordinarily discerning ear.
Maybe I feel like I want to hear a little more bass response, or maybe there's too much bass response and I want to carve it back a little bit. Maybe I want the lead vocal to sit a little more up front or be a little brighter.
The music comes from just about every genre. Plenty of rock and roll, pop, and country, but also Latin, hip-hop, francophone records, and more.
This is a song that you mastered a few years ago?
That's correct, yes.
As you listen to it now, is there anything you'd want to change if you had it to do again?
That's a great question. No, actually there's not. And that's always actually my big test when I'm finishing mastering something is my very last listen. If I can sit, bob my head, enjoy it as a fan of music, and have nothing stick out to me where I want to grab the mouse or grab a knob and change something, then it's done. And it doesn't, in my mind, it doesn't need to be revisited.
A&M worked for years with Bob Ludwig at Gateway Mastering in Portland. When Ludwig retired in 2023, A&M went out on his own.
You have only for a couple of months now been in this space.
Yes, sir.
This is where you're going to be for many years to come.
Yes.
The excitement is just radiating off you at the mere mention of it. This is your dream finally realized.
That's 100% true, yeah, and thank you for noticing that. This is exactly what I've wanted for years and years and years, was to build my own studio, build it exactly to the spec that I wanted, both sonically and aesthetically. So yeah, it's the biggest thrill of my professional life.
There are only about 15 to 20 mastering engineers in the U.S. working at this elite level, making records sound the best they possibly can before they go out into the world.
I think one of the best ways, it's not even an analogy, it's exactly the same thing, is when you play around with the equalization in your car stereo system. I'm doing basically the same exact thing with just much more sophisticated equipment.
A&M has worked for some of the biggest stars in music, so let's drop some names. He's mastered most of Carrie Underwood's catalog, for example, including this monster hit. Sometimes he talks with the artists, sometimes he doesn't. He's never conferred with Carrie Underwood, but he does talk with Keith Urban.
Keith and I certainly have. I've spoken with Shakira before, and many other artists, but generally speaking, it's filtered through the production team and the producer usually being the main contact there.
You have worked on the songs of more star performers than we could begin to mention, but you've also done a lot of work for Maine musicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who are not big names, many of them just starting out or working on a shoestring budget. And you help these people, and you're not getting rich doing it.
If you're making great music, I'd love to be a part of it. And for our home team, yeah, I especially love to hear and be part of the records being made here in Maine, and then help cheerlead those folks as well, be their biggest cheerleaders in any way that I can.
You've been doing this for a long time.
Yes.
What do you do to protect your hearing?
Oh, great question. I'm really adamant about hearing protection. So one, I don't listen overly loud when I do my work. That's really important because I spend, anywhere from say 5 to 8 or 9 hours a day with audio, sound coming at me. But even more importantly than that is when I'm outside in the real world, is I protect my ears everywhere I go. So I always have 2 sets of earplugs with me, both of them molded to my ears. One that I would use if I'm in any loud situation, like a movie theater or a show at a club, anything like that. I also try to avoid those situations as much as possible because they're so overly loud, but I always have my earplugs with me. And if I don't have them, my fingers go in my ears. You'll see I'm a runner and I like to be outside doing things. Occasionally you'll see me running, an ambulance comes by, I don't care, while I'm running, the fingers are in my ears until it's passed by.
Great advice for all of us, even those who have nothing to do with mastering audio. And believe me, once you have listened to the sound that comes out of the speakers in his studio, which is amazing, listening to your car radio, listening to your speakers at home will never be the same.
Never the same. Oh, so cool what he does.
If you'd like to know more about Adam Maine and his mastering business, just head to the 207 section of our new Center Maine app or website.
And we are not done with Adam just yet. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to put him through the lightning round and get him to name his all-time favorite record. That should be fun.